Grabbing the boards like, I'ma go coast to coast. I'm on beats like do-si-do. They don't wanna go toe to toe. Step into my court, you get put in the post.
Yo, what up, it's your boy JDMC and welcome to another video. What I'm going to be doing today is 8 things you didn't know about Brandon Ingram. But before we get into it, I just want to say thank you guys so much. We're nearly at 600 subs. Depends if you're watching this video, we might have hit it by now. But it's just crazy because at the start of this month, so at the start of February, we just hit 400 on February the 1st. We actually hit 400 subs. So we've nearly grown by 200 subs this month. That's crazy. So I want to thank you guys so much for the support. If you're a new subscriber, I appreciate you. If you've been here for a little while since like the free agency videos or whatever, or the DJ Meech reactions, I appreciate you guys as well. But yeah, it's actually been crazy. Like when I started this like NBA YouTube journey, like I wasn't expecting this much sort of like success or this much sort of growth this quickly. So yeah, it's real motivating. Like I'm gonna keep making these videos anyway, but to see like the amount of support and like the amount of growth, like that just helps. Like, yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys. And for this video, can we try hit 12 likes? I reckon we can hit 12 likes. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. 8 things you didn't know about Brandon Ingram. So starting off with number 1, he won a North Carolina state championship in each of his 4 years in high school. So Ingram won not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 state championships in high school, making him and teammate Daryl Dunn the only players in history of North Carolina high school hoops to win 4 state titles. This will be impressive in any state, but let alone the state that had, you know, produced Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, and players like that. So for Brandon Ingram to be that successful, I guess it does sort of, you know, go down to like the team he had and the coaching and all that, but we all know that Brandon would have been the star of that team, so that's actually really impressive. Now moving on to number 2, his favorite team is the Thunder and his favorite player in the NBA is Didnt. A lot of us probably knew that Brandon Ingram's favorite player was Didnt. He said himself that he models his game after Didnt, both being like sort of skinny, tall players and scorers. He sort of, you know, I guess Kevin Durant was like a role model to him. But it does come for a surprise that I wonder if he still roots for the Thunder, or I wonder if he just rooted for the Thunder when Durant was there. I couldn't really find any information on this apart from the fact that he's a Thunder fan. His hometown team is the Charlotte Hornets, but yeah, he has said that he's a Thunder fan, but I'm not sure if that's just to do with Kevin Durant. Like, I'm not sure if Brandon Ingram's still a Thunder fan now. I know when you're in the NBA, you're not really meant to be a fan of another team when you're on a team, but yeah, that was number 2. Now moving on to number 3, he has lost friends to gun violence. Ingram has lost some close friends and former teammates to gun violence. One of them was murdered in December. Others have been lucky enough to survive gunshot wounds. His father said an acquaintance of Ingram's was killed last year after leaving a convenience store when her body was used as a shield. She was an innocent bystander caught walking next to the wrong person at the wrong time. It was a good town, but as I grew older, it got kind of violent, Ingram said. Most of those guys I knew as friends, but they knew the direction I was headed. They tried to protect me, even in the gym. They would tell me to sit down or something. If I'm in the wrong place, they'd let me know. Yes, I thought that one was interesting. Like, obviously, a lot of like stuff like this can happen in certain neighborhoods and like all over the world, but you know, in America as well particular, so didn't come as too much of a surprise, but it doesn't make it any better, you know. It's still a dark situation they have to go through. And now moving on to number 4, Brandon Ingram's dad, Donald Ingram, was previously a police officer. Donald started his career as a police officer, then he pursued his dreams of becoming a professional basketball player overseas. He didn't make it past semi-pro circuits in America. After giving up on basketball, he landed back in Kingston in the 90s where his grandmother became ill. He rejoined the police force working in the town of LaGrange, I think that's how you say it. Brandon was born on September the 2nd, 1997. At that point, the town had criminal concerns, but they were largely contained to the east and south side of town. The dynamics of Kingston changed when Brandon Ingram was 2, after Hurricane Floyd dropped more of a foot of rain on the area in 1999. See, I just thought that was a little interesting thing. I guess I didn't know that, and I'm a huge Brandon Ingram fan, so I thought that was an interesting one, that his dad used to be a police officer. And I also know his dad's doing a lot for the basketball community in Brandon Ingram's hometown, so yeah, kudos to Donald Ingram for that. Now moving on to number 5, Brandon Ingram likes to draw. This is probably one of the most commonly known ones. In the past, he's drawn photos of Jimmy Butler and James Harden. I don't want to be like mean or whatever. I mean, they do look a bit funny, but he must have been young when he did, I think, the James Harden one. But the Jimmy Butler one's solid. But yeah, Brandon Ingram does enjoy drawing, and he is a bit of an artist. Yeah, he's got a lot of talent, so yeah, it's a cool one. I find it really interesting when like NBA players have like these little hobbies outside of basketball, like with Lillard with the rapping and Ingram with the drawing and stuff. I just think it's cool just to show like how passionate they are and how how they can be talented in other areas apart from like, you know, basketball. And moving on to number 6, Brandon Ingram felt uncomfortable being drafted by the Lakers. So Brandon Ingram, as we know, was drafted by the Lakers and then got traded to the Pelicans for the Anthony Davis trade. And in the recent podcast on JJ Redick's podcast, Brandon Ingram quoted, "It was different. I didn't know what I was stepping into actually. It was kind of like the world came when you were going to the Lakers. My social media started blowing up. I was into social media, but then I had to step into reality." And yeah, I think sort of what he was alluding to was just sort of all the glitz and glams in LA. You know, there's a lot of cameras on you, a lot of people talking about you. Like, even like I've been a Lakers fan since like those rebuild days of like, you know, the D'Angelo Russell and stuff. And like even then, like when they weren't even that successful, when they weren't even making playoffs, like the Lakers are just such a, you know, heavily covered team. They're a golden franchise, as we all know. So yeah, they probably are, and they probably are one of the most iconic, you know, sports franchises in the world. So especially for young players to go there, it can be a lot for, you know, all that pressure and all of those lights on you. So I get what he means when he says he did feel a bit uncomfortable in the Lakers. Yeah, just because of, you know, imagine like being what, a 19-year-old kid and just being thrown into this, you know, this world and this industry and having to like go to the heart of LA and play in Staples Centers, you know, pretty much every other night. So yeah, I do get what he was sort of saying. Now moving on to number 7, he is the 3rd most improved free throw shooter of all time. This one's actually really interesting. So based on players who have attempted at least 253 throws in both seasons, only Doc Rivers in 1985-86 and Andre Drummond in 2016-17 have made bigger leaps than the 18% jump Ingram made after going to the Pelicans. So Doc Rivers in that, you know, 2-year span, he went from a 60% shooter to an 82% free throw shooter. Andre Drummond went from a 38% shooter to a 60% shooter. And then Brandon Ingram went from an 87% shooter to an 85% shooter. So obviously Doc Rivers going from 60 to 82% is extremely impressive. But I think to go from 67% like Ingram was doing to then 85%, which is sort of, you know, in the top tier nearly, I think that's extremely impressive, and it just, you know, speaks measures to how much work and focus he would have had to put onto that free throw shot. So yeah, that one was really interesting. I guess I never paid mind to like that type of stat, but when I sort of dug that up, I thought I had to include that one. Now moving on to the last one, number 8. Some of us might know this, especially if you sort of were a Lakers fan or you followed Brandon Ingram closely, but so number 8, Brandon Ingram had blood clots. What started off as a pinch under Brandon Ingram's armpit soon developed into something more sinister. Inspections by the Lakers medical staff revealed that he did have a blood clot in his right arm. News hit Ingram and everyone sort of the first thing they could think of was, you know, the Chris Bosh situation, whose career ended at 31 years old due to the blood clot discovered in his leg in 2016. So when news came out about this, Brandon Ingram was asked about, you know, the situation with Chris Bosh and if that has like weighs any weight on his mind. And he said, "When I initially heard about it, I was kind of worried," Ingram said. "I heard people talk about the Chris Bosh thing. I think people around me kept me grounded, kept me smiling. I didn't have anything related to Chris Bosh really. I think his was a little bit worse. In my situation, I'm happy that we caught it early. It was planned out to where I could be healthy a little bit earlier." So yeah, like so he was a bit more fortunate than Chris Bosh in the sense of like they, you know, sort of got onto it a lot earlier and sort of realized it a lot earlier so they could treat it quicker and more efficiently. So yeah, that's lucky. I don't think it will have any real long-term effects on his playing career or whatever. Well, I'm hoping it doesn't. There's nothing that I could sort of see about that. So yeah, Brandon Ingram is really lucky that the Lakers medical staff, you know, sort of noticed that and then, you know, dealt with it. But yeah, that's it for the video. Drop down a comment below if you didn't know any of these or anything, and also leave a like if you enjoyed. And yeah, like I said at the start of the video, thanks so much for the support. If this is the first video you've seen of mine, you know, hit that subscribe button. You made it this far into the video, hit the subscribe button. Join the movement. We're nearly at 600 subscribers and we're going to keep growing. I want to try hit 1,000 by October. That was my goal, and at this stage we're crushing it. So thank you guys so much. Yeah, you guys are the ones doing this, not me. So I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Stay safe and peace.
Grabbing the boards like, I'ma go coast to coast, I'm on beats like do-si-do. They don't wanna go toe-to-toe, step into my court, you get put in the poster. We ain't talk to nobody if you ain't with the smoke. Run up on me, watch your ankles get broke. Spirit get him in and kick it back with the ghost. A lot of people talk but ain't doing the most. I'm a kook and shit like who you? I don't think that we neutral, can't control myself, I'm breaking free like JDMC mutual.